Expedite, the pre-workout, is designed to really help you get through those moments where you feel a little fatigued. Sometimes your body does get a little tired, gets a little sore. With this kind of stuff, it picks you right back up.
Streaming worldwide on ESPN Plus. I'm Christina Poncher. I'll be taking you through the interviews today. We have a World Championship event going down right here at Staples Center on Friday night and live on ESPN Plus. Friday night's show will mark the 1-year anniversary of Top Rank on ESPN and the launch of ESPN Plus. So we're very excited to bring that fight to all the fans here in the Los Angeles area. Our co-main and main event broadcast starts on ESPN Plus at 8 p.m. local time. Our co-main event features the light heavyweight debut of the WBO super middleweight champ, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. He will be taking on former world title challenger Tommy Karpency. That will open up our show at 8 p.m. And then our main event is for the WBA and WBO lightweight championship of the world, with pound-for-pound king Vasyl Lomachenko taking on former world champion and Manchester's own Anthony Crolla. Both of those events streaming live on ESPN Plus. There are still tickets available, so if you're in Southern California and the Los Angeles area and want to join us at Staples Center, you can come here to the box office on Friday or log on to axs.com and buy tickets. We also have a stacked undercard for you, so make sure you get here early. Doors are going to open at 4:30, and the first bell is at 5 p.m. On that undercard, we have Italian Olympic heavyweight Guido Vianello on the card. We also have LA native and new top-ranked prospect Christopher Zavala, and two of Lomachenko's stablemates on the card, Kazakh amateur standout Janibek Alimkhanuli. Is Janibek here? Not here, Aegis? No? All right, cool. And also top welterweight contender Alexander Besputin will also be on the card. So you'll get your money's worth. It's a stacked card, a lot of fights. So I'm going to send it over to the boss man now. Bob, I mentioned some of the talent we have on the undercard. A great product for a great venue in a great city here in Los Angeles at Staples Center Friday night.
Thank you, Christina. And also a topical announcement. We're going to lose Christina for Top Rank for Friday night. She's working for ESPN Friday night, taking Bernard Asuna's place because he has other commitment.
Thank you.
So Christina is really coming up. She'll be also working for ESPN on the pay-per-view telecast next week in New York between Crawford and Amir Khan. So great for Christina. I'm glad that a big network like ESPN appreciates your talent.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Your check's in the mail.
All right. Now, before we talk about the main and semi-main event, this card is, I think, really, really loaded. I mean, there's a fight on the card, and all of it will be shown on ESPN Plus with a possible future contender against Terence Crawford, Alexander Besputin, who is part of the Igor Klimas group of great fighters. And Besputin, who is from Russia, is the USBA champion, and he'll be fighting Alfredo Blanco. Terrific fight. Besputin is coming on. He will be one of the top welterweights in the world. Let me tell you something. When they talk about the PBC having the great welterweights like Porter and Thurman and Garcia, I will put any of those guys in with Besputin, and if we lose the fight, we don't get any money. Besputin is better than all of them. The one guy that they have at PBC that might give him a really tough fight is Spence, but that'll come in the future. Watch Besputin. He's a future top welterweight. And then on the card, we have another fighter from the Klimas stable, Janibek. He's from Kazakhstan. He's 5-0. And believe me, he is the successor to Gennady Golovkin, who's also from Kazakhstan. Janibek is coming on. He's a tremendous, tremendous talent, and you'll see him on Friday night. And going down the list, as Christina said, the policeman from Rome, who's an Italian Olympian, the big heavyweight Guido Vianello, will be on the card. Watch him. He's going to be a force in heavyweight boxing. We go further down to Christopher Zavala, a young fighter, a very, very talented guy. So the point is, tell the people to come early so they see all the fights. Believe me, we don't charge them extra money. Maybe it'll cost them money for another beer because they're there so long. But watch all of these fights. We'll go in and talk about the two principal fights. They're great fights. They'll be very, very interesting. But I want everybody to make an effort to get your readers, your viewers, your online followers who are coming to the fight to come early to watch some great, great fighters.
Something else I wanted to touch on with you, Bob, is the fact that this is the one-year anniversary of ESPN Plus. This fight with a fighter the caliber of Vasyl Lomachenko fighting and showing his talent on ESPN Plus. And then next week as well, we have a huge pay-per-view. So back-to-back stacked weekends, the biggest fights of the year.
Well, ESPN has really taken the sport of boxing and seized it. They are instrumental in making this sport, again, a big, big mainstream sport, which frankly it hasn't been. Particularly Premier Networks tried, but they never made it mainstream. With ESPN, we can make it mainstream. And why? Because they're a business. Because boxing has really helped them. ESPN Plus, which this is the one-year anniversary, now has more than 3 million subscribers in the United States, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. A lot of additional subscribers will be watching this show on Friday night, which features the great Vasyl Lomachenko against the top contender Anthony Crolla. And so we're very, very thankful to ESPN. And then you'll see next week a build-up on a pay-per-view fight that you've never, ever seen before, ever. ESPN has laid out a program all week where they will be showing around the clock clips and features for the Crawford fight with Amir Khan, plus an unbelievable undercard. Now, it's so big that what they're doing for us, and I'm so grateful, they have done a commercial that you'll be seeing, which features Terence Crawford and Amir Khan together with the new movie that will be opening a week later and will be the biggest blockbuster in the years, the Avenger movie. And they will be showing the Avenger against somebody that they're fighting, whoever it is, I don't follow that. And also Crawford and Amir Khan. So with that type of push, I think we're getting boxing back to the major sport that it was during the Muhammad Ali days. Also, you want to talk about the Barbosa and Mike Alvarado fight. Now, Barbosa is a kid from Central California, a terrific, terrific fighter. Christina will go into that a little bit more. That is on the card, and he's fighting Mike Alvarado, one of the really most exciting fighters who had problems in life, but now has pulled himself together. He's living the good life. He's making a comeback, and it's a really great, great story, and it should be a most entertaining fight. So I'll give it back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Bob. We have Eddie Hearn also here on the stage. We'll get to you in just a minute. I'm going to talk with some of the undercard guys, and then we'll get to our main event. And Bob, as you mentioned, this fight on our undercard between Arnold Barbosa and Mike Alvarado, it's a 10-round fight at the 140-pound division. It will take place on our undercard on ESPN Plus just prior to our co-main event. Mike, as we sit here, you and I have been doing this for almost 10 years now. This is fight number 45 for you. Did you think at this point, at 38 years old, that you would still be here, still fighting, especially like Bob mentioned, everything you've kind of gone through in your personal life?
No, I did not. After God reinvented me and gave me another opportunity to showcase and to really give it a shot with, at peace, I would have never thought. But being here makes sense, I was born and I was meant to be here. So, I'm here. I'm giving it another shot, and I'm going after it. So
I would have to imagine that your motivation at this point in your career, not only to continue to be able to give your family the best life that you can, but it's a shot at another world title. You know what it takes. You are a former world champion. That's got to be the goal at this point. Do you think that a win against a undefeated contender like Arnold Barbosa will get you that opportunity in a very talented 140-pound division right now?
definitely. I know getting past Barbosa would open the doors up, and it would catapult me to that next level. So, I'm excited and I'm focused and I've been working hard and, I had great preparation. So, everybody will find out, Friday night.
Yeah, that's what my last question to you was this. You've had some wars here in LA. You've gone toe-to-toe in a phone booth with Brandon Rios at the Dignity Health Center now. It was, Home Depot back then and Marquez at the Forum. So what can the fans at Staples Center, the LA boxing fans, expect from you on Friday
they're
night?
going to see an explosive fight. They're going to see a very electrifying, arena, and it's going to be a very explosive fight. So, we're ready to put on a good show, and I have a lot to showcase that night. And, I had a great preparation, had a lot of, science that I've been putting under my belt. So, I'm ready to go and showcase what I've been doing. So here we go.
Here we go. All right. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Your opponent on the other side of the stage, Arnold Lapuente, is in the building. I know a ton of fans will be coming to support you. What does it mean to you to be fighting right here in the biggest venue in LA, Staples Center, just a stone's throw away from where you grew up?
It's an honor, first I want to thank Bob Arum for this opportunity, Top Rank. It's a big opportunity for me, like you said, I have a lot of people coming. The preparation was great for this fight. We're excited, we know what Mike brings, he's a good dude, and but I think his time's passed and it's my time now. So Friday night, you guys are going to see what we've been working on, and we're going to showcase our skills.
At 20-0 with 7 knockouts and arguably the best opponent, the most experienced opponent that you have faced to this point, what would a win against Mike Alvarado do for you in terms of the landscape of the junior welterweight division?
Well, I think it means everything to me. This fight is everything to me. We train like it. A win over Alvarado, will assure me that I belong up there at the top with all the other guys. So we're ready to go on Friday.
You want to make a statement. I know that the couple guys, you've either called them out or they've mentioned you on social media, etc. We got a guy in Jose Ramirez that might be watching, maybe
Well, that's
a Maurice
right.
Hooker.
Jose will be at the fight.
Okay.
Jose Ramirez will be at the fight, and I would love to make Jose against the winner of Alvarado Barbosa right here at Staples this summer.
Okay. Yeah, that would be quite a good fight. Either one of you guys that can sling that leather.
Like I said, that would be great, but you got to get through this first.
Yeah, absolutely. No easy
I'm
task.
not getting caught up in the moment,
Sure.
in the big, stay. At the end of the day, you're in the ring. It's here for your work. It's here for business.
Absolutely.
You're here for work. You can worry about that after.
Very good. We're looking forward to the action come Friday night. That fight, as I mentioned, our last fight on the undercard right before our co-main event, probably about 7:30 local time here on ESPN+. If we can now get to the opening bout on our main broadcast on ESPN+, between two light heavyweights. I'll start now with the former light heavyweight title contender in Tommy Karpency. Tommy, thank you for being here with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You've done this many a time, considering
Sure
that you're a
have, sure
veteran
have.
in the division. You're taking on a guy in Gilberto Ramirez who's making his debut at light heavyweight. That's been home for you for pretty much your entire career. What can he and what can fans expect from your fight come Friday night?
I expect an action-packed fight. he's undefeated world champion moving up. I've fought a lot of world champions and elite challengers at light heavyweight. And also I expect an action-packed fight because he lets his hands go, I let mine go a little bit. And we're both southpaws. So I look for a better flow than, righty versus lefty. And we'll see what happens.
Egas knows when he fought Alexander Vosik, he had Vosik down, right?
He did drop Vosdick, yeah, and he's fought Stevenson. He's fought a lot of really, really talented and former champions. He did made you a little nervous too, right? And let me ask you this: you're the kind of guy that it seems like the way your career has gone, you get a call 2 weeks' notice, 3 weeks' notice, last minute. You're always coming in as the B side, as the challenger. But what would a win in this fight against a talent that in Zurdo Ramirez mean for you at this point of your career?
A win, not only this fight, but any fight at this level, this is the best in boxing. So it can catapult you to whatever. Options are endless after a fight like this, but I'm really not looking past this.
Yeah.
These are elite guys all around. So beating a guy like him is just like beating any other world champion from any other division. So it'll be a huge win and a huge opportunity.
Well, you're a fighter true and true, and we're happy to have you. So thank you for joining us.
You.
Yeah, absolutely. And your opponent here, just Arnold, just make sure that these two don't, they don't get paid for fighting today. So you got your security glasses on. You ready? Zurdo, quite a few changes since the last time we saw you. You have a new team. As I mentioned, you're making a debut at a new weight class in light heavyweight. You got a new baby on the way, a new fiance as well. How do you feel about just the direction that your career is going right now?
I feel very blessing for all this happen, and it's the right moment for me. It's in my career, and I feel grateful and very blessing.
You're fighting here at Staples Center, and we talked earlier, Los Angeles is now your new home. You've moved here full time. What does it mean for you to fight in this venue here?
This means a lot because I want to be a new home here in LA with all my fans, to be around them. And it's very exciting to put a great show here at Staples Center Friday night. And I feel ready, very ready to show all the fight what I bring in at the ring.
A lot of Mexican boxing fans here to support you as well. Would you like to say something in Spanish real quick? I know it's important.
Muchas gracias a toda la gente por el apoyo. No se pierdan la pelea el 12 de abril. Va a ser una pelea muy emocionante y pues estamos listos. Venga quien venga, como digo.
We know we accommodate our fighters at Top Rank. Gilberto told us that his wife, Priscilla, is going to have a baby next month, so we made the fight in April. We have another fighter who's going to fight on May 4th in Stockton, Bidabov, one of the light heavyweight champions, who has to observe Ramadan the next day, so we put him on the day before.
You gotta make those things matter. Those things matter, right? Lastly, let me ask you, 175, is this your new home, or would you still go down to 68? Obviously, you still have that belt if there's another big fight to be made there at 68.
I look in the big challenger, and I know that Tommy Karpency, he has experience. And if Bob, they give me interesting fight, like with Callum Smith in 160, I can make the way.
All right.
But first thing first.
Yeah, you have a tough fight.
This Friday, and then let's see what happens.
All right. Well, that's a good segue to the man right here. Thank you, Gilberto. I mean, he talked about Caleb Smith. I know that he cannot look past his opponent, but, I mean, you're here. We make fights, the two promoters coming together to make our main event. I mean, that very likely could happen for him.
That's a great fight. We talked about it yesterday. I think Callum Smith is the #1 super middleweight in the world, unquestionably the Ring Magazine champion, World Boxing Super Series winner, WBA world champion, and Gilberto Ramirez. He'll argue with me, but I believe he's #2, and I think 1v2 is always a great setup.
Oh, yeah.
Bob spoke about his keenness to make that fight, and Callum will be boxing at Madison Square Gardens on June the 1st, and then I'd love to make that fight in the autumn, fall. I think it's probably the best fight in the division.
I would have to agree. But let's talk about now the fight that is going to happen. The man to your right, not only just an incredible human being, but an incredible fighter, and earned this opportunity for this fight at being the #1 contender for the WBA. But there's been some backlash as to why he would accept this challenge. And even though he's the #1 contender, What does that say about your guy that he's going to go in there and take on this challenge? You know, not only in the U.S. but against a top pound-for-pound talent.
Yeah, this is the ultimate challenge in the division to face Loma. I would like to say firstly thank you to Bob and Todd, and thank you to the WBA as well, who obviously Anthony got himself in a position to become mandatory, and that was forced. And thank you to Paco Valcazar as well from the WBO, and Aegis Klimas, who seems to have 50% of every card in boxing right now. Congratulations to you.
And he turns guys down.
Exactly.
Believe it or not.
But really for Anthony, you know, this is it was a few years ago where we finally got a shot at the world title. He was going to fight Richard Abril,
Right.
and you know, crazily, he chased some burglars out of his next-door neighbour's house. They attacked him. He fractured his skull. He broke his ankle. And really, I felt at the time that was probably it for him. He came back. He got another shot at the world title. He beat Darlis Perez and actually only got given a draw. He rematched him. He won that. He had a great win in a tough defence against Barbosa. And then he boxed Linares twice in 2 great fights. Unifications, Ring Magazine titles. So, you know, when you've achieved that in boxing, there's nothing else to achieve, really, other than fight the best. And that's why Anthony chose to chase Lomachenko. You know, most guys would try and look at an easier fight, but he wants to be involved in the biggest fights. He wants to fight the best. And unquestionably, Lomachenko is the best in the division. So he has an unbelievable team around him. And Joe Gallagher, Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year a couple of years ago, who knows this year as well. And a great team as well in training camp, and Paul here and Johnny and everybody around him, Callum. There's a great feeling and great family vibe amongst them. And they're not deluded. They know what they're up against. You know, they're a massive underdog in this fight. He has absolutely zero pressure. But he's an excellent fighter. He has a clever boxing brain. Like I said, a very clever trainer as well. And he's up for this fight. And you know, we hear a lot of people talking about what's next and who's coming next. That's great for us. That's great. Because Anthony's just going to get on with his job on Friday night. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Now he's got to do it. It's difficult against someone as skilled as Lomachenko. But trust me when I say he's here to win this fight. And he deserves this opportunity. That's what mandatory positions are for. And being a champion, being a unified champion, part of your responsibility is to face your mandatory challenges. And I want to thank Loma and thank Aegis for actually not vacating the belt and saying, no, we want the unification fights, but we also understand our responsibilities. Yeah. And I think it's so great to see a fighter that is willing to try and collect the belts and try and focus on legacy rather than just the fights that bring him the most money.
When Eddie, I liked what you said. You talked about the mandatory challenge. I hope you have the same attitude when Kubrat Pulev, the #1 in the IBF,
Absolutely.
challenges
Absolutely.
Joshua.
I'm all up for that fight. He's got a few issues to overcome first, Bob, but I'm sure you've got some good lawyers.
The cameras are rolling. He said, keep that same energy, right? Anthony, to you now, as your promoter, and Eddie mentioned, you earned this spot. You earned this position being the WBA #1 challenger. Of course, you're sitting back like everyone else thinking that he's going to unify against Richard Comey before that happens, and then an injury. And it's kind of the perfect storm, if you will, for you to get this opportunity. What was that call like in that moment when you knew you were getting the shot?
Yeah, well, we always knew the April 12th date was penciled in with the top-ranked team for the Richard Comey fight, for Vasyl to fight him. But we also knew it was a very quick turnaround for the Richard Comey-Chaniev fight. And I was watching it, and you know, we've only had seven weeks notice, people think, but Joey's always stressed the importance of staying in the gym, staying ready. So a lot of people think to only have 7 weeks to prepare for a fighter like Lomachenko isn't long, but we've had a full 12-week camp just in case this date popped up. And lo and behold, after Comey stopped Chaniev, we saw an interview after the fight and his hand was wrapped up, and I thought, nah, it's going to happen this. How there's a chance of it happening? And, you know, I'm thankful for the opportunity. Like Eddie said, from Team Lomachenko, Bob Arum. And I prepared the best I possibly can. I'm in, without doubt, the best shape of my life, physically and mentally, and that's what I should be in a fight like this. There's no excuse. I shouldn't be anything other than that. But honestly, I cannot wait till Friday night. It's Eddie mentioned it then. It's a huge challenge. Well, it's a challenge I can't wait for.
You talk about it being a huge challenge. I mean, you have the chance to make some history yourself. I mean, I look back at some of the, you know, British fighter upsets. This could be arguably the biggest upset in
Yeah.
British boxing history, and history means
We
something
don't
to Loma.
have to go that far to sell a fight.
I mean,
No,
you told me to sell it. We got tickets
Yeah,
still on
no,
sale.
it's-
AXS.com if you haven't got your tickets now.
It would be, and you know, I love this sport. You know, it's a big part of my life. Everything around it. When I'm not, I'm around my team. I'm helping bring kids through in the amateurs. You know, it's a huge part of my life. So of course, that's massive motivation for me. But people have got good travelling support. You know, people at home, everyone around me, the effort the team puts in. You know, I've got so much motivation for this, and
Yeah.
that's just added.
Make some new fans here in LA and in the US too. Only fought once here as a professional, so that
course, yeah.
that won't hurt.
Of course, yeah, no, it's great to be here. Iconic venue.
Yeah.
Like the Staples Center, and for all the marbles, you know, for the best prizes in the sport. I can't wait for Friday night.
I'll try to wrap up. I think you have a football match you'd like to be watching
Yeah,
right
we're,
now.
we're losing 1-0,
Oh,
so
already.
it's not
Okay,
too
maybe
bad.
maybe I'll
Yeah,
keep you.
already.
Manchester United is playing.
Manchester United.
They're down. They have a big
I
match right now.
remember being, when we did Ricky Hatton, we were on that stadium. It's a great field. We had the fighters go down. And
It's awesome.
they really know how to do an event.
Well,
It's terrific.
Yeah, then let's ask you about that, Loma. Bob talking about the knowing in the UK how to do an event. I mean, we have Eddie Hearn up
Well,
here. You have a fight. You
Eddie-
would love to
one
fight
thing-
there. You
one
went there.
thing
And you
about
got
Eddie, well, he doesn't know dick about fighting, about promoting in the United States. He's a hell of a promoter in the UK.
I'll tell you what, Bob, if you want, I can help you sell some tickets
Yeah.
for Friday as well. I know how to do that.
I want to say something before we get to Loma. Look, I think this is going to be a very, very good, very interesting fight. But I have to say this, that any Loma fight is worth watching. It's the equivalent, really, I was thinking about that, of watching Picasso do a painting. What a great thrill that would be. It's a great thrill for people who love boxing to see this guy on my right, Vasyl Lomachenko, fight. It's something that is unique. It's something that we won't see again for many years. All fans should come out and watch this because this is an artist at work.
I don't feel like I should say anything else after that. But Loma, let me ask you. He was talking about just the fight fans in the UK, and obviously they'll be supporting your opponent. But you have a lot of boxing fans there. Is that somewhere you'd like to possibly fight someday?
You know, I think I have a lot of fans in the UK, so I think it will be very interesting for all fans in the world.
I just want to say I can testify to that because when you came to the UK for the Usyk fight,
Yeah.
one young man chased him for 6 miles.
Oh, I saw that
He
video.
was in a car, and this guy was on foot to get
For
him
an
to sign his
autograph,
glove.
right?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he got
I mean, why'd you
$1,000
keep
for
him
it on
going
eBay
for 6
later.
miles? Pull over.
Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah. But Christina, you know, I don't want to talk too much before the fight.
know.
You know, I just wanted to say thank you, big thank you for my team, for my friends who came support me, for all my fans, for my promoter Bob Arum, for Top Rank, ESPN. So we'll see Friday, 8 p.m. ESPN Plus.
Loma out. Drop the mic. That's it, right?
That's it. I'm done.
He's running the
It's
show
called
now.
Paco has a presentation.
Yes, he does. So if I can now bring up quickly before we pose the fighters for some photos, Paco Vasyl of the WBO. He has something special he would like to give to our world champ here.
It's a good
Surprise.
tradition.
It's a good tradition, yeah. You give him your. You want to hold
Let's
the mic?
have Anatoly come up also, the father.
Papachenko.
Anatoly, come up.
Papachenko. No, he said no paparazzi. No paparazzi.
Okay, Loma, thank you. I would like to present the this is the third one. He has been champion in 3 different divisions. Loma has been champion in 3 different divisions in WBO. It's a privilege and honor to present one more belt. It's not how much money we pay for this special belt. It's how hard you have to work to reach the status of Lomachenko, WBO super champion lightweight.
Yeah, they said add that one to the bill, right? Thank you, Paco.
Down in the middle. Get down, down, get down. Cell phone down. Cell phone down. This way, champ. Cell down. We got two cameras rolling. Anthony Loma, this way. Loma, the front. Sit down, sit down. Thank you. This way, guys. Mike.